program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?
We live very fast-paced lives, trying to climb the corporate ladder as fast as possible, running successful businesses while at the same time keeping active social lives. But doing all these requires for us to be on top of our game, both physically and mentally. The energy we need to expand for this is one that our bodies are simply not gifted. In comes the energy drinks. With a rising need for individuals to be busy bees, brands in the beverages industry tapped into the synthetic energy supply by producing these consumables. To further work on likability and being preferred, various energy drink manufacturers within this multi-billion-dollar industry produce trillions of liters annually with different flavors to cater to different demographies. These drinks have become so popular they are now a staple in many people's diets, seemingly preferred over the regular fizzy drinks and or juices. The concern, however, is what outcomes can this have on a person's health? And is there an actual science behind the claims of these consumables? As ever, our health chat is led by none other than pharmacologist and consultant cardiologist Dr. Kiran Bhagat, who's here today to talk about this very topic. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on First Issues. As ever, it's a pleasure having you on our platform. Today we're talking energy drinks, as we've seen they've become so popular amongst Botswana, right? But we want to know, why are they used? It may seem obvious. And is there science behind any of what they proclaim?
The country is awash. All the shelves of the soft drinks and the fizzy drinks are awash with claims of energy drinks and boosters and all sorts of things. One has to ask, first of all, why people are actually resorting to the use of these supposed energy drinks. Rather than using something to boost your energy, the better question is to go upstream and ask, why have you lost that energy? And people really these days are not well, primarily because of the same issues we talk about again and again. That is lifestyle. They're not sleeping enough, they're not exercising enough, they're sitting most of the time. They're consuming things that make the body fatigued. You know, you're consuming processed carbohydrates, sugary foods, artificial flavoring. You're not sleeping enough. You've got lots of timetables. You've got lockdowns. You've got shutdowns. You've got loss of jobs. So the stress of living in an industrial society, an urbanized society, has had its toll in terms of chronic fatigue. And so people are looking as a quick pick-me-up to get through that extra hour in the day or that extra hour at night to finish their workload. As a result, the things that nature has provided to boost their energy, they're not using. You know, the sleep and the exercise, making sure that you're eating small meals, fasting every now and again, doing a little bit of extra weights to make sure your muscles are strong. I think it's important to understand that these are a substitute for something that's lacking in your lifestyle, and they really are no substitute for the lifestyle choices that you should be making. The claim as to whether they provide energy is completely mute and falls on deaf ears in terms of science. There is very little science that suggests that any of the energy drinks on the market provide very little other than two major ingredients. The ingredients that give you this feeling of boost is caffeine. So the majority of these energy drinks contain moderate to sometimes excessively large quantities of coffee. You can imagine what you're doing to your body when you assault it with 2 or 3 cups of coffee in a small drink loaded with 7 or 8 teaspoons of sugar. The body goes crazy. The body actually becomes alert because it's on high alert because you've assaulted it. Sugar is toxic to the body, as we've told you before, and caffeine has untold effects, which is what it happens. And so people may feel this mental sense of boost, but it comes with a huge downside, which you pay for later.
I know you've alluded to my next question with the coffee and the sugar that's found in energy drinks, but I want you to give us more of what's in there and if any of it is addictive.
We know that sugar is highly addictive. We know people crave sugar, whether it's in the form of sweets or chocolates or biscuits or confectionaries. So sugar in itself is highly addictive. And if you use large quantities, what happens initially, let's just talk about the sugar. When the body is infused with a large amount of sugar, the body rushes out a chemical to douse the fire, because sugar causes the body to become inflamed. So insulin permeates the system and suddenly drops the sugar. It's the reason why children who drink energy drinks at school, and they'll suddenly feel energized, but meantime the body is rushing out chemistry to drop that sugar. So the sugar suddenly drops and the child then falls into a lapse and runs out to the corner shop to buy another can of energy drinks, and that cycle goes on. So that in itself is addictive. And then of course caffeine, we are a caffeinated world. Many people who try to come off coffee or because of their early morning wake up, because coffee is used to waken somebody, actually have major withdrawal signs. So caffeine itself is highly addictive, and you can imagine consecutively in a compounded way drinking Energiades. I know patients of mine who have had to travel to Francistown and have to get up the next morning to travel back to Habaroni early morning, and they take a can or two of energy drink to stimulate their nervous system. You're doing yourself harm because the caffeine itself is addictive, and then once the caffeine wears off, you want another high, so you take another can of that. So that becomes a repetitive issue. Some companies have added other stimulants which now have been banned. I won't mention them because they've been withdrawn from the market, but some of them contain chemicals that actually stimulate the brain and put the brain on a high, and also stimulate the heart. Which is the reason why many of these energy drinks are so harmful. Not only are they addictive, because those who are listening to us who take these energy drinks know that if they skip their morning dose of whatever it is, they feel the withdrawal, they feel lethargic, and they need that boost. That boost is simply an addictive boost. It's a bit like a cocaine boost or a heroin boost. It's to palliate the body's saying, where's the coffee in my system? Now you can imagine if you are anything over the age of 25, regular dosages of caffeine can cause blood pressure. If you are a patient with blood pressure and you take these energy drinks, it may escalate your blood pressure. If you suffer from palpitations, or you don't have palpitations but you start becoming aware that your heart is thumping all the time, that is the effect of the caffeine. Caffeine works very much like adrenaline. It sends the sympathetic nervous system, the adrenaline, on a high. So your heart begins to thump, it begins to palpitate. You start to get jittery. Your hands begin to sweat. You feel edgy, irritable, possibly even having signs of attention deficit. You can't focus because you're so hyped up with the sugar and the coffee. And then of course, those that use it, and we're aware that some of our younger generation use them at parties. The problem with using energy drinks at parties is they spike it with alcohol. So you've got alcohol, which is a stimulant as well as a cerebral depressant, together with the caffeine, together with the sugar. You can imagine what it's doing in terms of torturing and poisoning the system. So the other thing also that younger people out there need to be aware of is that regular consumption of sugar will destroy your teeth. We have complaints from our dental associations that children are getting tooth decay because they're literally sucking on all these sugary drinks. So these are all the effects. Of course, the other thing that happens is you have a failure to fall asleep because you're on such a high that your body can't actually wind down before it has to go to sleep. You keep waking up because you must remember, we've talked about this before, that caffeine has a very long half-life. If you have a coffee at say 1 in the afternoon, a half of that coffee is still in your blood at 7 o'clock in the evening. So if you can imagine, if you've compounded those cups of coffee in an energy drink, that coffee is still circulating by the time you want to go to sleep. And so you have insomnia. So you get up and you move around and you try and do things. In the morning you're tired. So to break that fatigue, you take another energy drink. And so people go round and round and round. So it's important for the public to understand that if you're taking these energy drinks, 1, they don't provide energy. 2, you're not actually replacing the thing that's causing the lack of energy. And 3, they are addictive. And number 4, if you have other pre-existing conditions or conditions that you're not aware of, many people come to us and our facility is next to a gym. Often these gym enthusiasts have been spiking themselves with things to make them more efficient in the gym. But lo and behold, they come with a hypertension crisis because their blood pressure is spiked and they're getting a rapid heart rate, which should be between 70 and 80, goes up to 120, 130, 140 per minute. And we discover that they've been addicted or have been consuming large quantities of energy drinks. So these are all the issues that have got to do with the addiction and the harms of using energy drinks.